What is going on, guys? This is Ryan Johnson with MoneyBass.com. All right, guys, it is time. It is time for another live stream. Just going to let guys continue to come on into the broadcast. And let's see, let's check out the comment section. All right, guys, as you come into the come into the live stream, please take a minute to hop in the comments. Just drop a quick comment in there. Let me know if you can hear me okay, see me okay. And as you guys know, you have seen the thumbnail and the title of the video. Let's talk about some electronics. Let's talk about some live imaging. How about we talk about LiveScope, Mega Live, and Active Target, guys? All right. We have a few people stepping into the chat already. We have Angel Garcia. What's going on? Good to see you in the chat room. All right. Just kicking back for a few seconds. Well, just a few minutes. Let a few more guys get logged in so we can, just have a nice discussion, guys. And what I will do is drop the link into the chat. So basically all we're going to do is just go over a quick article that was put out about the topic, guys. From there, we will go over a quick poll that I put out recently. I know some of you guys were active and involved in that. I really appreciate the participation and the input. So we'll go over that, just kind of give you guys a feedback of, what guys are kind of thinking out there. And I know depending on what YouTube channel or what the person's overall view is on the subject, that will have kind of an impression on, what type of feedback that particular channel is getting. So I'm hoping that we can kind of have a level playing field on here. But as you know, we do talk about a lot of electronics on this channel, guys. So I'm thinking a lot of you guys are going to be more in favor of the electronics thing. But let's just kind of have a discussion on that topic from both sides of it and just see where that kind of leads us. I think it'll be kind of interesting. And like I said, I'll pull a few of you guys up. Let me just go ahead and drop that in the comment section right now. And I see we have quite a few people checking in. So what we will do as usual, we will get started with checking out some of the comments, guys. Let's see who we have checking in today. Let's see. Let's take a look. All right. So we have Angel Garcia. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. And let's see. Who else do we have? Jason. All right. We have Jason checking in. What's up? What's going on? Glad to have you checking into the comments. And we have Bass Fever. All right. What is going on? Bass Fever. He has a YouTube channel too, guys, and I know he's out there fishing some of those BFLs and making big things happen. Appreciate you stopping by. And also, I know some of you guys are going to have some input. Let me just make sure that link went into the comments. Okay, yeah, so the link is in the comment section, guys. So like I said, once I go over a few things, then I'll start bringing up a few of you guys just to get some other insight, just kind of make it a little interesting, guys. Let's have a little fun with it. And just kind of see. I mean, I'm hearing things like maybe there should be two separate leagues, the same way that there's all electric boat fishing. Maybe there should be all electronics and no electronics. But I'll let you guys put that input out there because I want to see what you guys are thinking. All right, let's see who else we have. We have Previn Braylock. All right, good to see you. Good to see you. And let me see. Kyler Bauer says, out of curiosity, what black ice rods do you have? All right. So I see you've been watching some of my videos. So I have the spinning rods, and it is the medium, black ice medium 7.2 spinning rod. And I use those pretty much just for a shaky head right now. So I have two of those. If you guys have been watching my videos, you've seen me using those, and I really like them. I mean, they really have some good sensitivity, and they've been getting some good fish to the boat for me. So those are the ones I have, the black ice 7.2 spinning rods. All right, and who else do we have here? We have, let me just kind of make my screen just a little bit bigger, guys. All right, so we have Stephen Martin says, let's go. Why ban it? I was fishing the hill this weekend, couldn't find them with electronics. It won't make them bite anyways. All right, so there we go, guys. We're going ahead and getting it started. Stephen Martin says, let's go. Why ban it? So he's looking to go ahead and keep it in action. And we have, guys, look what we have right here. Angel Garcia. All right, really, really appreciate that. That is my second super chat, guys. I really appreciate that. I mean, all of this time, effort, and work being put in, guys. I'm really glad that you guys are just showing some appreciation, that it's really helping you guys out. In the comments on my Instagram, you guys are showing a lot of love and just, giving me some good feedback. And Angel Garcia is one of those guys that has been reaching out to me. And I think we might be able to meet up out on the lake one day this month or something like that. So I have to get back to him because I know he's going to be out in the area. But really, really appreciate that. Really appreciate it. All right, now we have Darren Pearson. What does Darren Pearson have to say? Apparently, two guys have been using forward-facing sonar and a muskie tournament and really hasn't been doing that good, but they want a tournament to catch 10 muskie and everybody else only caught 2. So apparently someone, they kind of used it as a stepping stone. So they started off not doing too well, and that live imaging kind of helped them out a little bit. All right, so let me just read through a few more of these comments real quick, and then we will go ahead and get started. I see we have a nice little crowd in here tonight. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel and stopping by to check out the live stream. Make sure if you can hear me okay, see me okay, go ahead and hop in the comments, just kind of introduce yourselves. And if you have any questions or comments on the topic for tonight, go ahead and put those comments down in the comment section, and we'll kind of get around to it and just have an open discussion. And like I said, for you guys just tuning in, I will bring up a few of you guys on the screen so that, we can kind of talk about your point of view and things like that in just a few minutes. All right, so we have Deshaun Peck checking in. What's up, fellas? What's going on, Deshaun? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, and we have a live scoper stepping into the chat. All right, what's up, bro? I saw the topic. I don't know about that one, man. What's up, bro? I saw that. Okay, so I know you're a live scoping man out there. So maybe you'll hop up and kind of put your opinion in there. Let's kind of, I was gonna say let's keep it light, but hey, go ahead and voice your opinions, guys. Because there's people who think on one side of it, and then there's people kind of in the middle, and then all the way up to the other side. So we'll just kind of see how that works out, and maybe, you never know, there may be some common ground that can actually be found in this topic, guys. All right, so Kyler Bauer says, I thought about snagging a casting rod. They have a 50% sell on them now. Currently have the same rods you do. All right, yeah. So yeah, I like those rods. We're talking about those black ice ducket rods. They've worked out very well for me. If you guys saw me using those on Lake Eufaula, brought in, I think it was around 45 pounds or something like that over a 3-day period. My best day out there was around 17.74, all on that black ice rod. So after that, they became my favorite rod at the time. Well, as of right now. All right, so Angel Garcia, agree with Steven. All right, so we have people casting their votes. Already people casting their votes. All right, let's see. All right, and we have Bass Fever. I see more fish, but I don't catch more than before. So we were having a discussion earlier today, and basically what he was saying is that he does have LiveScope. He's able to see those fish, but like I hear a lot of people saying, it does not make them bite. So that's pretty much what his point of view is on that. Then we have Kyler Bauer saying, I feel like I catch less, but maybe that's because I see more now. So that was one of the kind of advantages, disadvantages. So before I had my Mega Live system, guys, I was competing against guys that had live imaging. I had my 360, sonar, and side scan. So I did release a video of basically how I went about competing with guys that already had that live imaging, LiveScope, and I don't believe Active Target was out at the time. Maybe it was, but I just pretty much relied on my 360, my sonar, and my side scan. So it's like you have to put in a little bit more work, but like he says, that does not guarantee that they're going to catch those fish. And also, depending on where you're at in that learning curve, you can spend too much time out there chasing fish that are not going to bite. All right, let's see what Darren Pearson says. That's why that Muskie tournament trail banned forward-facing sonar. All right, all right. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. All right, and then Previn Braylock says, "I love my LiveScope." Yeah, I mean, once you get out there and start using, this different technology and things like that, sometimes just using the technology itself is just a whole different thing, a different way of having fun. Even on days when you may not be catching as many fish, it's just that extra attention, that extra effort, that extra thing that, just brings some type of level of fun or excitement to the fishing experience. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at one more, and then I will bring up something and we'll get into this, guys. All right, just to clarify, that was directed about I understood what you were saying. I understood what you were saying. But hey, we will get into that too. But for now, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do first is go ahead and pull up the article that pretty much is the topic of the discussion. And let's see, I'll pull it up on my screen. And I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not, how big it is actually showing on your screen, but this article is basically the foundation of what you guys have been hearing about. And this is from the Professional Muskie Tournament Trail. And it's basically, their website is promuskie.com under the news section. So if you guys wanted to check that out, that's pretty much where I'm pulling this up from. So let's just go ahead and go through this real quick. Anglers, as many of you know, we have been researching the forward-facing sonar, live sonar, and other like technologies during PMTT tournaments going forward. We not only requested feedback from the PMTT Trail team members to give their opinions and views, but gathered data and information from across the fishing industry and beyond. We explored other tournaments, tournament circuits, other species, and consulted with people throughout the fishing industry. Everyone at the PMTT is always striving for what's best for the PMTT, its anglers, and the resource, even if the decisions made are not the popular one or the favorite opinion and method. Oh, there we go, guys. It's not always going to be the popular thing, but hey, sometimes you got to make those decisions. So let's see what else they have to say. Let me just kind of skip through here real quick. Let me see. Everyone at where did we go? Okay, here we go. After we compiled all of this information, we then viewed it from several different angles. It was weighed out as to the positive and negatives, its impact either way on the tournament, and playing devil's advocate with the scenarios, cause, and effects with each of these and how they could play out. All right, so this next paragraph just kind of talks about their specific season. And let me see, while we were equally concerned with what the PMTT anglers wanted, this was also weighed out heavily as to if we are hearing from the vocal minority. And that's what I was speaking about earlier, guys. So sometimes depending on what channel or what point of view the person has that is speaking at the time, you may see more for or against that particular thing. Let me see, the vocal minority or the masses with these thoughts and opinions. Through this, we have concluded that going forward in the 2022 season for the last qualifier on Leech Lake and the championship in September, the forward-facing sonar, live sonar, and all other like technology will not be allowed for use during the 2 PMTT tournaments. These will be banned from 2 hours before the start of the tournament until the end of the last day of the tournament, guys. Ooh. All right, so there you have it. This decision is for the rest of the 2022 PMT season and not for a permanent fixture in the PMTT, as it will be reevaluated after the season. If this decision is reason enough for any team to no longer want to compete in this year's tournaments, please contact the PMTT by email only for a refund. Uh-oh, guys. What do you think about that? All right, let's see. Let's get into it, guys. What do you think? So basically for me, even though this is directed at musky fishing, I mean, it's competitive fishing, guys. So you never know how one thing may begin in one place and kind of bleed into another thing once they see that it's successful. So I mean, what kind of direction do you guys think that this may take us to? All right, and let's see. We have another comment that just came up. Let me see who this is. We have Shimano Shane. All right, Shimano Shane says, musky fishermen. Uh-oh. Hey, I mean, I don't want to. Let me kind of skip that. Let me see. Too much money pumped into industries for bass or MLF to ban them. Okay, so from what I gather from that comment, let me just go ahead and take that one down right there. I don't want anybody coming after me for that one. But from what I'm gathering is that musky fishing, I mean, it's kind of like any industry. I'm guessing that bass fishing is going to be the top as far as competitive fishing industry. We still have crappie fishing. We still have, I mean, there's people out there that do tournaments for catfish. I haven't heard of any brim fishing tournaments, but I'm pretty sure there's competitive brim fishing tournaments. Growing up, it was competitive fishing for anything that we caught. It was just basically whoever brought in the biggest number of any type of fish that you caught, and that's the person that will win the day. So based on that, guys, like I was saying, just how would this affect other tournament trails, other other industries other than the bass fishing industry? And let's see, is there any other comments, or can we keep going right now? All right, so we will keep on moving. I don't see any other comments down here. And again, let me go ahead and pop the link in the comment section. So the link in the comment section, guys, basically, if you click on that link, what it will do, and hold on, let me just remove this from here. All right, so basically what that link that I dropped in the chat does, if you click that link, it will bring you backstage, and then I will be able to bring you up and we can share the screen. So if you wanted to make any comments or just kind of voice your opinions on it, just kind of put that out there so we can, maybe some people can reply in the comments, or maybe somebody will come up and just include themselves in the discussion. So if you want to hop on the screen with me, just go ahead and hit that link and I will bring you up. And let's see, so we have somebody else that is down here. Let's see. So White Bass says, can you imagine the uproar if they banned front-facing sonar? Sponsors would go bankrupt. Right. I mean, so that obviously is something that I'm pretty sure everybody understands, that this is going to be based on economics, financials. There's a lot of money and time and money invested into electronics, forward-facing sonar, that entire industry. So, I mean, depending on how that plays out, I definitely do not see that being the larger market as far as going no electronics and no forward-facing sonar, because the technology is already there. So going backwards isn't always going to be an easy thing, especially when so many people have invested those funds into it, and especially those large industries that pretty much support the foundation of those sports. All right, so we have 360-second Campbell says, the biggest myth is that LiveScope will make you better. Not true. It doesn't catch you fish, and it doesn't control the size of the fish you catch. I don't know if I 100% agree with that one. The size of fish you catch, once you kind of get dialed in with it, you can you have an idea of which fish are smaller and bigger, depending on how you're using it and how you get it dialed in. Maybe I will upload something for you guys to take a look at for some things that I have kind of figured out with that. But the other thing he says, it doesn't catch you fish. Nah, it definitely doesn't catch the fish. I mean, I would say that the fisherman still has to catch those fish, and that's going to be based on that gear and everything that you have and your skill level. Can you even find the fish? You know what I mean? You still have to find those fish. The live imaging, of course, as you know, just kind of hones in on what you have already found. But, I mean, it can be a good search tool, too, depending on how you're using it. All right, and Darren Pearson says, I have no problem using forward-facing sonar, but unless any of the top pros start complaining about it, they will not ban it in bass tournaments. I guess depending on how much those top pros have that they have invested into it. I mean, I don't know if their bank account's going to be bigger than those industries, than Garmin, Humminbird, and Lowrance's bank account. So I don't know if, it would take a group of anglers, I think, to kind of affect that, to make it to where they ban it. But let me go ahead and pull up this poll. And this is a poll that was put out. I just put this out maybe like a day or two, just in preparation for tonight's live stream to get some input from you guys. And this was the question in the poll: should live imaging be banned from fishing tournaments? And that's easy yes or no question, but I went a little more in depth. But let me just tell you real quick what the results were from that. So we had 17% said yes, ban all live imaging. Then we had 43% that says no, it shouldn't be banned. And then 39% said, I don't care. They said, I just don't care either way. So, I mean, there's some people out there that, I mean, I think they're going to catch their fish regardless of whether they have that live imaging or not, because they, you know, they have enough time on the water, enough skill and all, whatever, however you want to put it, to where, you know, they think they're going to be okay out there. But the question that I put was, what do you feel is the essence of competitive fishing? Whether it's crappie fishing, bass fishing, just tournament fishing itself. And is it to determine who is the best angler at catching fish, or the best angler at using all of the gear and, you know, what they have available to them in combination with catching fish? So what is it truly? So what I will say is, for me, I think back to whenever I first started competitive bass fishing, guys. Let me just tell you about that. Whenever I first started competitive bass fishing, I pretty much just grew up fishing creeks and things like that. And, you know, down in the country, we walked through the woods maybe 30 minutes, an hour. Sometimes I'm just going until we would find any little creek, and then we would start fishing. So it was just something that, as you guys know, you just grow a passion for it, and you just kind of expand over time. So for me, I had never really thought about competitive bass fishing, but once I did, and I started doing it, I started off with one spinning rod and one bait caster. That was the beginning of my tournament career, or however you want to put it, as a co-angler. And at the time, I had never heard of a lot of things that I later found out happen, or that people use in the fishing industry. So the extent of what I knew, other than just using your lure, was maybe adding a rattle or a bead or something, because I did fish a Texas rig a lot. So I knew about that. But once I started competitive bass fishing, one of the first things I remember seeing was someone had some JJ's Magic. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, well, it adds a scent to your bait, and it, you know, it kind of attracts the fish. And I was like, well, does that, I don't know, does that sound fair? That sounds like that's cheating. I mean, does everybody use that? Or, you know, that I've never heard of using that. So that was kind of surprising to me. So the same way that some guys are looking at electronics now, I was starting off at the basic level, guys. So once I heard about using scent and things like that on there, I was, you know, kind of questioning that. But hey, I went ahead and adapted. You know, I joined the program and, you know, went along with it. Then the next thing that I heard that was really surprising was when someone says, yeah, look at my fish finder. And I was like, a fish finder? That definitely has to be cheating. Can you use a fish finder in a tournament? Nah, that doesn't sound right. You can't use a fish finder in a tournament, but come to find out, you could use fish finders in tournaments. And I thought that was the whole purpose of the tournament, was to just show who could use what they have up here and what they have learned over time, and the equipment that they have to go out, find fish, and catch fish. I was just thinking of it at that basic level. So as technology progressed, you know, I just kind of adapted with it and went ahead and, you know, as things came along, I kind of hopped on the bandwagon and learned that, for me, the learning curve was something that I just saw electronics as a way that would help out a lot. And another thing is, I was fishing as a co-angler with somebody, and as we were fishing along, you know, he was like, hey, how many fish do you have? I was like, hey, I have 2. He was like, we'll go ahead and get you 5. I'm gonna take off and we'll fly across the lake. We'll pull up on this spot, and when we get there, what he says, he just points to an area, and all I see is water. He says, all right, there's a hill that's under the water. It comes down into a little valley. At the bottom of that valley are some rocks. So just throw your Carolina rig over to those rocks, and then you'll feel it as you drag it across. And I'm looking across the water, and I'm like, I don't see anything. So I'm like, hey, how do you know what's under the water out there? And what he tells me, now remember, this is the beginning of my bass tournament whenever I first started. So he says, well, yeah, I used to play in this area before the lake was here. So I know that there were trees over there, that there are rocks right here. There's a hill over there that we used to slide down whenever it was snow. We'd slide down that hill, and I immediately thought, I'm never going to be able to beat this guy. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So at that point, I had to formulate a plan. And so my plan over time, as I learned more and more about electronics and how they work, I saw that that may have been my ticket to kind of help with the learning curve. Of course, you still have to have, some basic understanding. I would say a little more than a basic understanding, but you still have to have some fundamentals and some things to where you're just using the electronics as an add-on to what you already know to get the most out of it. But to me, that was one of the things where I saw the value in electronics. It just cuts back on the time that it would take as far as being out there, having to scout out spots and find fish and things like that. All right, so let's just go ahead and take a look at a few more of these questions, and I will drop this link one more time, guys. We have been rolling for about 30 minutes. Generally, we finish up maybe around an hour or something like that, but hey, depending on how much input you guys have. And I mean, we've been getting some good comments, so let's just go through a few more of these. All right, Shimano Shane says, do you think the time of year dictates how seeing the fish makes them easier to catch? So I do not fish at the pro level, but from what I have seen whenever I've been out on the water, and of course when you guys see my videos and I'm out there catching these fish, there's a lot of times where you can find those fish and they will just be completely inactive. And that is one of the things that is a big factor in the learning curve with using live imaging, because if you're not used to seeing a lot of fish, once you start using live imaging and you start seeing all those fish, the mindset that I would say prior to LiveScope is that whenever you are fishing and you're kind of just blind fishing because you don't know if a fish is where you just cast it or not. Whenever you're catching the fish, I think in a lot of people's minds, that's where that fish happened to be at. Not that they may have already cast it to 100 fish, but none of them were biting, but that they just happened to finally find an area where fish were at, and those are the fish they're catching. But now with live imaging, you can see that you can be sitting right above a big school of fish and you can't get any of them to bite. So I think that is one of the things that I would say in response to that question. All right, so we have Stephen Martin says, I believe there should be live imaging tournaments if it's such a, I believe there should be live imaging tournaments if it's such a big deal, and no live imaging tournaments. So I've heard that one too. So so basically, let me just say what he's saying. He's saying have tournaments where you can use everything except for live imaging, and one where you can use everything and live imaging. But my response to that is, if you're using live imaging, sonar itself is live imaging. There's a small window, RTS window. I put out a video with that for you guys. And so one of the main techniques that I use is drop shot, and that's how I catch those fish, is using that live imaging window within sonar. But even just the effects that you can get, well, the results that you can get from side scan and down scan, if somebody else does not know how to use that technology that well, or they do not have it, to me, that would be the equivalent of fishing against somebody that has LiveScope in the way that people are viewing LiveScope as that big game changer. Side scan, sonar, and down scan are just as big of factors in my opinion. All right, so same for me. All right, so Rex says, if folks don't like forward facing, they can create tournament circuits that restrict it. Most just don't. Most just like to gripe. Hey, I mean, so that's the thing. You can go ahead and invest and put out those funds and start another tournament trail, but that is the thing. Are you going to get participation? How much participation will you get, and how much financial backing are you going to get? All right, so we have somebody that stepped up into the backstage. Let me go ahead and bring him up. All right, here we go. We have 360-second Campbell. How are you doing today?
Good,
this
man. How are you?
evening.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you okay, see you okay. Everything is looking good.
Good,
So,
good.
so, so what is going on? I know you are a live scope man. So, so what do you have to add to this topic?
uh, you're not putting that genie back in the bottle.
And so why is that? Why is that? So for the people that want it gone, you're saying it's already out, so it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, as some of the people commented that one, there's too much money into it. Two, all the pros are using it. It's become a staple. It's a norm in bass fishing now, especially in the tournament circuit, and it's across all circuits. So it's MLF as well as bass. So it's
Gotcha.
not going anywhere.
Okay. So why do you think that they were able to do that if that is the case with musky fishing? Why were they, why did they ban it with them for now?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it has something to do with. I don't musky fish, so maybe it
Right.
has something to do with the way you musky fish.
Okay.
I don't really understand the rationale behind it for musky. There may not be quite as much money in musky as there is on the bass side of things.
That's possible, yeah.
Um, Participation rate may not be as high either. Because you got to think in the bass circuit. I mean, MLF has what, four circuits plus high school, and it's U.S. wide. Bass has got clubs and circuit, and they're U.S. wide. So the amount of participation, I would have to say, from the bass side is probably astronomically larger than muskie.
Right,
Now,
right.
I don't know. I'm just
Right,
thinking
yeah,
out
yeah.
loud.
Yeah, because in our minds, we're used to bass fishing. So I'm kind of thinking that musky fishing is the same. You're throwing a lure out there and you're trying to catch it. So I don't even know if they use live bait. I know nothing about musky fishing. I'm just looking at it from the competitive sports side. But yeah, I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying.
And it also, when you read that article, I may have not interpreted it right, but it almost sounded like they wanted to basically you can use forward facing sonar all season except for the championships.
Um, my impression was that it's already banned now. So for the rest of
Okay,
this season,
and then
and they're
possibly
gonna
further.
and then they're gonna reevaluate it for right because I think it was maybe like two more tournaments left, maybe. But it looks like they were saying that you can use it for your practice up until 2 hours before they start or something like that. That's kind of what I was gathering from it. And so, like I said, I'm not familiar with the format or how they, how they set that up. But I did kind of get that they were banning it for the rest of this season, and anybody that does not agree can get a refund on it. So
Yeah, it may also be something to the way that muskie's set up versus how bass set up. Because even with the live scope, you can't always see bass. If they're hugging the bottom, you can't see them. If they're
mm-hmm.
suspended, you can see them. And even if they're in brush piles, you really can't see them until they move.
Right.
You know, so maybe muskie look different on the live scope or
Oh,
something.
I've seen some imaging with muskie. Those things are big, so I mean they're very easy to see. Those are the ones. Whenever I remember when the videos were first coming out, and they were saying, "Hey, look how good you can see the fish. You can see the fins, and you can see the gills and stuff like that." Those were muskie because their fins are probably. I mean, I was gonna say the size of my hand, but I've seen some three, I think like 3 feet. If I'm
Hmm.
thinking about the right species, those things get kind of big. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't know if I saw it on the live scope. I probably wouldn't cast at it
right,
because
probably
I
think it was a
think it was a
gar
gar
or
or
something like
something.
that.
So,
Right,
like, not wasting my time on that. Uh, but,
right,
but yeah, I don't think that genie's going back in the bottle. I think there's a lot of misconception around it until you actually have it and you use it often, and you kind of learn what it can and can't do. You kind of start getting beyond the myth. That's what part of my comment was, that the myth is that if I get live scope suddenly I'm going to be able to catch fish. Well, no, that's not the case at all.
right,
You'll
right.
be able to
That's
see
it.
fish, but you still have the same problem you always have. One, IDing the fish, and what my comment meant when I said that you can't control the size of the fish that bites your lure or that you catch. That's the
Right,
one denominator in bass fishing. It doesn't matter how many fish you're around. You can't control the one that hits the lure.
right.
It
Yeah, I
could
was
be the
just.
6 pounder or the 6 inch.
Yeah, look, I was just messing with you. I knew what you were saying. That's why I was like, yeah, can, yeah. So even if you can see that 5 pounder next to that 1.5 pounder, that 1.5 pounder a lot of times is gonna fly over there and bite that lure first, and that 5 pounder is gonna sit back and be like, "Yeah, I just wanted to see what that was gonna do to you if you bit it. I just wanted to kick
Right.
back and watch."
There goes
Yeah.
John. See ya.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let me pull up something real quick. Maybe you can answer this question. But let me
Okay.
see. We have C219 Troll says, "I'm late, but great topic both in bass and crappie world." All right. So yeah, I know he's a killer out there with crappie fishing. I don't know about I haven't really seen him say too much about bass tournaments, but yeah, I know he's killing them on the crappie side. And then we have, let me see, Tarboat Bassin says, "How much does the whole LiveScope system cost on average?" So I know you may be more familiar with that question
That's going to
yourself.
depend on which fish finder you get with it. The common one right now is the Echo Map 90, the Echo Map UHD 93, and that with the last iteration, not the newest one, because I think we got the LVS 34, which is second gen. The LVS 32, I believe, is first gen. That I want to say $1,500. The new gen may be the same price, but by the time you throw in the fish finder, you throw in the black box and the transducer, it's about $1,500.
Gotcha.
And that's if you
Okay.
get it on sale, because you can get the fish finder for around 1,000.
Oh, you can. Okay. So and the total would be what you said, the
It's around $1,500.
around 50, and that would be for the transducer and the screen itself.
You know what? I take that back. I'm sorry. I misspoke there. More like $2,500.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
About
that's kind of
15
a different.
for the, yeah, 15 for the live scope, another 1,000 for the fish finder.
Right.
But
So
that's if you get it as a package deal and you can find it, you know, I wouldn't say on sale, but marked down a little bit.
okay, gotcha. So from ground zero, they're looking getting the transducer and getting the graph itself, and they'll be looking at around 2,500 total for
Yeah, I
those
believe
two
that's
things.
right, because you're looking at around 1,500. And guys in the comment can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just shooting from the hip here. But I believe it's about 1,500 for the live scope. That includes the black box and the transducer. And
Mm-hmm.
then the 93s usually go, I want to say they're around $1,200 normally, but lots of times you can get them in a combo deal to where it's only 1,000. So that's where I come up with the 2,500.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a few rebates and things like that also where they'll knock like $200 off, but I mean that's being in the
Right.
right place, right time, and ready to buy it at that, whenever a deal like that comes available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what it really does for you, for those on the channel that are listening in that don't have a live scope system, what it really does for you is efficiency. That's really what it does. I can go out, I can graph a point with traditional 2D sonar. I can find a brush pile, rock piles, whatever. I can drop a marker buoy on it. That's going to take me a certain amount of time, right?
Right.
I can still fish structure that way offshore. But with a live scope, I can find that stuff. I can mark it. I can turn around. I can shoot it with my live scope, and I'm good to go.
Right. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Uh-oh. No problem. No problem.
My kids were in here interrupting me.
Hey, they heard you talking bad about taking the live imaging,
Right.
about leaving live imaging, so they disagree with that.
So yeah, it's efficiency, man. The efficiency is the name of the game. You can
Gotcha.
do things with a live scope for efficiency that you can't do with the 2D sonar. Not the
Right.
same amount of time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, all right. So we have one there that is definitely for keeping it in the industry. So
Yeah, I don't see why you can't have it in tournaments. I mean, there's also this misnomer that if you're using a live scope, somehow you're going to be better than everybody else in the tournament. Well, that train of thought is along the same lines as saying there's only one pattern working on a lake at any given point in time. That's
mhm,
not true. There's multiple patterns working at any point in time on the lake. So a
right.
guy out deep using live scope, he may be crushing them, but the guy back in the mud in the back of those pockets flipping a jig may be crushing them just as easily.
Right. Yeah, and I guess my thing would be is before LiveScope came out, what just regular tournaments, an average tournament, what kind of weights did you normally hear would win a tournament before LiveScope? Do you remember? What do you think those weights were? Like say the winning bag on say Lanier, what would the winning bag be?
Man, that's hard to say because 20-pound bag on Lanier is not uncommon.
There we go. So this is what I'm saying. Before LiveScope came out, I would hear 18 to 22-pound bags coming
Right.
out of Lanier, all spots. After LiveScope, what are the weights of the bags that are winning? The weights are the same
Yeah, they're the
to
same. They
me.
haven't changed. Yeah,
Right.
they haven't
Yeah.
changed.
So and maybe the people have changed, but the weights seems like they're staying the same. So it's just a different group of people that are winning now. So I mean, that's kind of what I seem to notice, but I could be wrong with that because I have not researched it. But I just kind of see that the weights of the tournaments that are being won, if you go back and look a few years back, the weights are still about the same. It's not like now all of a sudden it went from 20 pounds to 25 to 30 pounds of what they're taking to win.
Well, here's a prime example. The BFL this year owned Eufaula, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got, I think it was 100. Matter of fact, I think there was 134 boats in that tournament because, or maybe it was 139. I was the last boat, so I should know that number. But
Oh, okay.
to give you a prime example, the tournament total weight, which was over 20 pounds, was caught by co-angler, not a boater.
I remember that. I remember
Yeah. So he wasn't
that.
using no live scope.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. So hey, it's one of those things. So yeah, I'd be interested in just hearing somebody's point of view. That that's kind of looking at it from saying that yeah, they need to get rid of it, all the way from someone who's saying there should be no electronics at all. Period. To I mean, because I know some people that say yeah, keep everything except for live scope, but I'm like, well, side imaging, sonar, down scan. I mean, why keep those if you're wanting to get rid of electronics? Because what is the true thing that you're trying to determine whenever two people are showing up to fish a tournament? What is it that you are actually judging? You know what I mean? What is the
Yeah.
goal of that? Is it just to go out there, say for example, he has one pole, and they both have identical setup. You just hand two guys the exact same thing, and they head out there and may see who comes back with the best bag type thing. Because I remember back in the day, there was a tournament trail where everyone had the exact same boat. Seems like it was,
That's
um,
MLF.
yeah, right, Major League
Yeah,
Fishing. Yeah,
it's
they would
the Cups, the Cup
they
Series.
they would just show up with their gear. They would get the same boat and everything. But
Mhm.
even with that, I mean, if somebody's fishing with balsa baits or somebody has plastic bait, they don't have access to these certain things. That is still going to be an advantage. So it's like with each step of the way that people are not using the same thing, you're still not getting a true measure of this person against this person. The equipment's going to be involved. I mean, what if you have a $500 reel versus like me when I was out there fishing, I had a Walmart a Walmart Shakespeare reel. You know what I mean? Because I did not know the difference at the time. So yeah, I mean, it's just all kinds of different levels to where you can look at it to where there's advantages and disadvantages. And I think each new step of the way, people are going to say, hey, we should not allow that type of technology or allow that speed of boat or that type of things on a boat. He can use talons and I can't have them, so he can make it, or he can go upriver and I can't make it that far. You know what I mean? So there's always different kinds of things. So what are you really trying to measure is I guess where I would start from and saying like what is the true measure of the sport. And really I think the bottom line of that is going to be, regardless of what people think, it's going to be the financial part once you get into those upper tier tournament levels.
Well, if you paid attention to professional bass fishing and professional anglers in general, there's this trend that your fishing is secondary. They're salesmen first. They're
Right.
salesmen and marketing people
Exactly.
first.
Yep. That
Uh,
is it.
they
That is
sell,
it.
they push product, and I get it because that's what they need to do to be able to maintain the lifestyle, to be able to travel and to fish those tournaments.
Right.
So that marketing pays for their fishing. That's
Right.
a good way of doing it. But as long as you've got that dynamic going on, then there's going to constantly be evolution and constant movement, constantly pushing the envelope. And I think some things do need to be regulated within reason. You know, such as boat lengths or minimum boat lengths, maximum power on the engines, things like that. Some things need to be kept in a level playing field. Um, but other things, like you said, there's always an advantage and a disadvantage. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you put me on the lake with Jacob Wheeler, you can take everything off his boat. He's still going to whip my butt fishing.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. Yeah. 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 That's the thing. That's the thing.
I mean, some guys are created equal. You've got spot lock. I don't. You know,
Yeah, what's up with that? What you waiting on? What you waiting on?
mm, either the trolling motor or the new boat. I can't make up my mind.
Oh, can't get both, huh?
Well, yeah, it's one or the other. Can't make
Right,
up my mind.
right.
They're
Gotcha,
both
gotcha.
expensive.
Yep. All of this stuff is. All of this stuff is. I don't have that target lock yet because I started kind of doing some calculations, some 1, 2, 3 calculations on that, and I was like, might just wait on that for a quick little minute, but we'll see. But
Yeah,
all right, man.
that's a true like they you know, I don't run Humminbirds, I run Garmins, but I would,
Right.
and they hit the nail on the head with that. That my jaw hit the floor when I saw that. I'm like,
Right.
I don't use that word game changer, but I
Right.
literally was like, uh, like that's game changer.
Yeah, I want it. I want it. I gotta have it. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those type
I'm
things.
like, okay, Garmin, step it up. Time to come up with something similar that I can spend money on.
Yep, yep.
But
That
that's,
is
I
the
mean,
truth.
that's really awesome technology because it addresses an issue with the live scope. You know, most guys that don't have that technology, much like yourself, because I know your style and how you fish offshore, you've gotten good at positioning into the wind, into the current to be able to keep the boat straight, to keep minimal movement on the trolling motor. But
Gotcha.
there's a lot of guys that don't, you know.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Even when I see people using their live imaging, one of those key things is knowing how to move that thing like millimeters at a time to track those baits and everything. I mean, it gets real detailed, and I know a lot of people, they haven't got to that point yet by the questions that they're asking, or by the comments that that they make and things like that. So, I mean, it's different. There's definitely different levels to it, even once you have it, to where it's going to take some time on the water and extra effort that if you don't put it in there, you're not going to get those results.
Yeah. Like you said earlier on, you still got to find the fish.
Right. Yep.
Still got
Yep.
to find them, man. Still got
All
to.
right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming up. I have somebody else that is hot backstage,
Excellent.
but good luck on the water. And yeah, I
Too,
know
man.
I'll be.
Pressing your pedal. I'm glad to see it growing like it is, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of guys showing support, showing up, watching the videos and everything like that, and hitting me up on Instagram. It's growing. It is definitely growing.
That's awesome, man. We need to get out on the water, man. Instead of communicating via phone while we're out there graphing, one day we need actually.
All right, we'll have to make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, all right.
Good luck to you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Later.
All right. All right, guys. We have somebody else that is hopped up in backstage, but just hold on just a second. Let's go through some of these comments real quick. Don't want to get too far behind. All right, so we have Darren Pearson says, what you can do the same thing if you have 360 and you know how to read it. I have a video out on that. So 360 and live imaging, they're different animals. You can they kind of overlap a little bit, but there's definitely things that 360 can't do that live imaging can, and vice versa. So, like I said in that video, if I had to choose one, I would still go with live imaging over the 360. All right, so let's see. White Bass says, I don't think it will get banned, but remember the Alabama rig? Exactly, exactly. When the Alabama rig came out, people were like, it is going to empty lakes. It is going to, there's just going to be dead fish everywhere. People are going to catch so many fish, take them home and eat them. There will be no more fish left for everybody. Ban the A-rig. So that was kind of the, the census or the word that was out on the streets at the time, whenever that came out. Once it was out and went mainstream, they banned it during tournaments. I never seen that coming either. So yeah, I mean, they did ban it in some of them, and they, even the tournament trail that I was fishing, they initially banned it and then they brought it back into play. But I've caught a few fish on the A-rig. The hype behind it to me was still, you had to get out there and put in work and actually have the knowledge to know when that is going to work and all the other things that went with it. So you can go out there, and for me, I lost more of those things breaking off than I caught fish, than I caught fish with them. But I did catch a 757 on Lake Eufaula with that A-rig. But when I add up probably the 10 or 15 of them that I broke off over the years, I don't I don't know if that evens out. All right, so let's see. We have Make It Happen says some of the trails on the West Coast are banning it. Whoa. Okay, so that is some big news right there. Some of the trails on the West Coast are banning it. And are those going to be bass tournament trails? Hey, so that is basically the point of the live stream is that going to start bleeding over into other areas of fishing? All right, let me see how many more of these comments we have. All right, let me just shoot through these real quick. Let me see. I'm pretty sure One Bass has it in the books to be banned in 2023. Okay, we'll have to see how that plays out. All right, Josh Johnson says paid about $5 with the 10-inch screen. Okay, all right. So that was an answer to the question about the cost of the LiveScope system. So I'm not familiar with that. So maybe you guys in the comments can answer. So if you guys see some comments in here where people are asking questions and you know the answer, you can go ahead and feel free to definitely help them out. Okay, in my last turn, okay, this is Donald Albert says, in my last tournament, I saw a lot of fish on my 2D and live sonars and ending up wasting a few hours chasing walleye instead of bass. That is one of the things that we're saying. So that can definitely be a downside. So seeing fish is great, but they have to be of the right type. Definitely true. All right, and we have Bass Fever says, and extra battery. Right, so yeah, you depending on how much you start adding electronics on, you'll need to get those extra batteries too. All right, so we have somebody else that looks like they're trying to come up in the backstage. Just make sure you guys have your cameras on whenever you're ready to come on. And Bass Fever is sitting back there patiently waiting. So let me go ahead and get to him. Let me just read a few more of these real quick. Josh Johnson says, let me see, paid out about 4,000 or 5,000 for the Garmin. Whoa. Now that is some hefty money right there. So you need to be recouping some of that with some of your tournament wins. So that's what we need to hear about in the comments too. I need to see how much you've been winning if you popped out 4,000 to 5,000 on the on that LiveScope system. All right, so Steve Martin says mine was 2,500. Really helps with crappie fishing, especially with jigs. Yeah, I mean definitely. Just seeing the images and everything with crappie fishing, they're directly under the boat. It's I can definitely see how fishing for crappie when you're dropping those jigs straight down on those fish. Yeah, especially with jigs. Most of the time I use it to line up with the brush pout, and let me see, I don't even look back at it when using minnows. There we go. All right, so Josh Johnson also says, didn't mean to send that. I guess we paid for the labor involved in getting that installed. Okay, gotcha. Right, okay, so that was with everything, labor and everything. All right, we have Mark Scott stepping in. All right, there is another longtime supporter of the channel. Hi, Ryan, just got here. I was working on the boat. All right, sounds good. Glad you made it. He's been sending me a few images on Instagram, so he's been out there killing them, catching those 4 and 5 pounders out there. All right, so we have Bass Fever, Echo Map UHD 93SV, and Panoptix LiveScope LVS 32 system bundle, $19.99.98. Hey, that sounds like a good price right there. You guys might want to hit Bass Fever up on his channel, see how he's getting some of those hookups. All right, we have Nate stepping on the scene, being able, and let's see, so Nate is another longtime subscriber. He says being able to identify the larger fish is the issue. Well, hey, keep sticking with the channel, Nate. We'll get you there. We will get you there. But Nate, wait a minute, Nate. You're out there catching those crappie. Don't come in here trying to trick me thinking that you're out there catching bass. I know you're still out there catching crappie. So you might need to holler at C219 Troll. That's the crappie man right there. All right, so let's see who else we have. We have the Iceman series. I have LiveScope, but didn't use it much. I use my instincts instead of technology. All right, that's what we're talking about, guys. That's what we're talking about. I mean, there's something to be said about that. And I mean, the feeling that you get whenever you go out there and you're able to use your own skills. I mean, to me, it's kind of similar, like say if you're hunting, you're a hunter and you're out there. I mean, somebody else is using that long range big rifle, but you go out there with that bow and arrow. You're out there tracking them down or something like that. You know what I mean? Just different things can bring different enjoyment for different guys. So just keep that in mind too, guys. All right, so the Iceman series says LiveScope. Make It Happen says I would just get the live scanner for half the price of the Humminbird TargetLock. That is an option, but that TargetLock, that word locking on that target, that's major right there. All right, let's see. All right, Bass Fever. I just have 4 more comments. Let me go through these real quick and I will bring you up. Mark Scott says, I paid $1,400 for Live Scanner. It's not half the cost unless you get their cheapest model. Okay, so hey, we had a reply immediately on that one. All right, so who else do we have? Wazoo Fishing doesn't seem to like Randy Blaukat, but I like Randy Blaukat. So let me go ahead and go on to the next one. But yeah, so I mean, Randy has to me, a very interesting channel. His work ethic is great. I mean, that is something that definitely cannot be denied. He is pumping out, I would say, like 2 to 3 videos a day. I cannot keep up with Randy Blaukat, you know what I mean? But I'm checking out his comment. He has a lot of good things, a lot of good input. And always, to me, it's always good to hear other, other thoughts, other people's, input onto different topics. Because, hey, it'll open up your mind. And sometimes you can see some value in that and kind of change your stance, or even, just help out the things your viewpoint on things that you're seeing. That can actually help you out. Just kind of expand it a little bit. All right, so we have Make It Happen says Live Scanner does pretty much the same thing as TargetLock, has the variable speed, foot pedal, and remote as well. Right, I think for me, the main difference is that lock. Being able to lock on to that target is really a major thing, especially with fishing offshore. And I don't know if you've watched a lot of my videos, but I show a lot of footage whenever I'm out there and I'm fishing next to these big yachts and everything coming by. They may come within 40 feet and they're knocking me all over the place, but I have that 52-inch shaft on my old Trex with spot lock, and hey, it keeps me in place. But having that target lock, I can definitely see the advantages, or the value in having that. All right, let's see who we have next. Where did all right. Okay, so I'm gonna skip a few of these topics, guys. I mean, a few of the comments, guys. So, but I will give a shout out to Dante. Dante is in the house. Thank you for checking in. And we have Wazoo Fishing. All right, so he doesn't necessarily agree with some of the things that Randy says, but like I said, to me, it is always good to hear different opinions, different insight, because once you kind of mesh everything together, I mean, you can come up with some great things, some different ways of seeing things, guys. So I think there's still some value in hearing, other opinions and things on it. All right, and let me see. All right, so I'm not sure what that one means. So let's go ahead and. All right, so coming to the stage, guys, we have Bass Fever. Bass Fever coming to the stage. All right, hold on. Let me just move this out of the way real quick. All right, so can you
Yes,
hear
I'm
us
here.
okay, see us okay? Everything looks good?
Everything look good.
All right, so how are things going for you?
Okay, so I got the Garmin LiveScope probably 2-3 months ago, and again, I can see a lot of fish. No means that I can go to the lake and I fill the boat with fish.
Right.
So um, I don't think they should be banished in the tournament. Uh, Personally, I think it's gonna be fish in shallow water. It's gonna be people catching fish in shallow water, also in deeper water. Uh, Sometimes of the year, I think in cold weather, maybe winter time, it can
Mm-hmm.
play a huge advantage. But in summertime, see the fish no means they're gonna buy.
Right,
So
right.
you can again go back to the same thing. I can see hundreds, thousands of fish now. They don't see it before, but
Right. That's what we were talking about earlier
yes,
whenever you
yeah.
called me. Yeah.
Amazing technology though. I'm unbelievable. Sometimes I can see my bay 110 feet away. The boat.
Right.
It is insane. And now, again, no means I can fit out my boat or can go and now I can win all the tournaments. No means nothing at all.
Right, right. Yeah, and that, as far as seeing the bait out at those distances, that video that I just uploaded, I think, yeah, actually yesterday, I just uploaded yesterday. You saw me cast that top water bait, and I'm able to track a top water bait from out at, I think it was a little over 100 feet where I could track that bait out. And just as
Insane.
long as you can stay lined up, which I mean, you saw, I kind of lost track of it for a quick second, but as long as you can stay lined up with it, seeing those baits going across the top of the water and seeing those fish down there and seeing those two connect.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a beauty.
Right.
It's nice.
Right.
No always happen though, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what you're saying. You can't
Yeah,
always get them to bite. You can see him come and look and be like, does he
sure,
think I'm gonna bite that? Let me
sure.
let him cast 50 more times, and I'll keep acting like I'm gonna bite.
I believe it's my mistake. I think I have to move faster for the comments and for what the people talking today. I'm probably losing too much time. Try to get the fish to eat, and I probably have to move quickly to different spots. Okay, with the price of gas and be in the water, sometimes so many times in the week, it's cost me so much, and I'm fishing the smallest areas now. I don't go all over, so that's maybe why I see a fish and I'm maybe losing too much time in one spot.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That is definitely one of the, like I said, one of the downsides of it, just that learning curve. But and the other thing that I would say with that is before LiveScope came out, like I said before, I have a video out on this where I was showing how you can actually use your RTS window on your
sure,
sonar setting to where
definitely.
you can see that live, the live section in there, so you can still see the fish moving as long as you know how to read it and what you're looking at. So
Video
for
game
me,
fishing.
right, and so for me, the thing is, I've been used to for years of seeing what
Drop
people are
shot.
seeing on live scope. They're
Yes,
just
sir.
seeing it out in front. I was used to seeing all of those fish
Before we
under
see it
me.
under. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I would be used to seeing like 20 fish below me and none of them biting. So I know I need to go ahead and take off and leave. So that learning curve of seeing all of those fish and just not wanting to leave because you don't know the next spot that you pull up to, or if you're going to find another large amount of fish like that. It's just kind of like that mind game that goes along, and it can, get the best of you sometimes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I really like to watch your videos. Your channel is growing amazing. I really enjoy it. Thank you.
I
Thank you for the
appreciate it.
information.
All right. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, guys. That is Bass Fever. Make sure you
Thank you.
check out his channel. All right. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. Let me see. All right. Let's see. So now we can get back to a few more of these comments. We have been going for about 1 hour, guys. Let me drop the link one more time just in case there may be one other person that might want to hop up and say something about this. Let me see. So we were at Stephen Martin says blueback herring lakes seem to be a different animal on its own. Yes, blueback herring lakes. I like them. I like those lakes. They're pretty easy to fish because I've become accustomed to that. And I have found that for me, fishing lakes with blueback herring, those fish go out deeper and it's easier to catch fish offshore, in my opinion, because I like fishing offshore. But I know some people that fish shallow water, they may see it a little different and they may like blueback herring lakes for a different reason than that. But yeah, blueback herrings, definitely a different animal. All right, so Dante says, you're way better than him, man. Don't sleep on yourself. All right, I appreciate that. But hey, I do not have the level of expertise that some of these other guys have out here. So I am learning along with you guys on a lot of these things. But it is always good to, just kind of share the space with like-minded people. That's one of the good things about the channel. And what I would say is always read the comments on these videos, guys, because there's people in there, when you reply to their comments, you guys, end up kind of building online friendship to where you end up sharing information, you learn things. There may be issues that you're having with your system that somebody else may be experiencing the same thing. So once you link up or you just kind of read each other's comments and somebody may shoot you some information that saves you money, saves you time, just decreases that learning curve for you and just, makes it to where everybody can have successful days out on the water. All right, so we have Tarboat Bassin says, Stephen Martin, the Hill is my home lake. I believe LiveScope is the ticket for chasing those schooling fish. All right, so what do you think about that? That is just what I just mentioned. So guys in here going back and forth, giving information, just helping each other out. All right, so Stephen Martin says, Tarboat Bassin, we need to get together, man. I live in Waynesboro, and it's depressing spending all this money going up there and not being able to find them. There you have it, guys. What do you think about that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. So that is one of the main things that I want people to get out of my channel, is to be able to come together, share information, because I mean, we really don't know how much time that we have out there on the water, guys. I mean, sometimes we may be planning to go out there and hit the lake. I mean, who wants to go out there and, you may be only able to go to the lake twice a month, once a month, or however much time you have, and you go out there and you don't catch anything. I mean, that does not make me feel good to hear somebody saying, yeah, man, I went out there and it just sucked for me, so they can have that type of story, or they can have the story like, yeah, man, I remember you talking about this thing, or, said this one thing and it changed my mindset. And now the next time I went out on the water, I killed them. Take a look at these pictures I put on Instagram. I mean, hey, to me, that benefits all of us, because we all will gain something from that. All right, so let's see. We have somebody else stepping up into the backstage. Let me go ahead and bring him up. Okay, here we go. We have Derek stepping in. How you doing? Good to see you.
What's up, MoneyBass? How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I just want to make sure you see this before we get started there.
All right. Appreciate that service.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. I like your flag back there.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. So what's going on? What is going on out there?
Yeah, man. As you know, man, I'm on a crappy.
Hold a second. Hold on.
All right.
What is that back there? I see something over your shoulder.
That's the Three Stooges, man. My bad.
Okay.
You ain't never got introduced to the Three Stooges. Those are three. They all over 3 pounds. They were caught in Santee Cooper.
Okay.
In 2016.
Gotcha. That looks nice.
Yeah. But on the topic, man, like I said, I fish crappie tournaments, and we go through the same thing, man. People, some people say it's complaining, whining, or whatever. But like I put on the comments, man, is we gotta embrace the technology, man. I mean, this is the future. So you can either embrace it or get left behind. And in our world, if you don't have live imaging, then you're not going to win. You're not going to even cut a check. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
because with crappie fishing, the majority of the fish, I mean, do you guys even cast away from the boat, or is it pretty much 100% just catching the fish straight under the boat?
Well, the way I approach it, I try to stay as far away from the fish as possible. So if I'm fishing a brush pile, I'll shine my scope 40, 50 feet. I'll see the press pile. I'll see the fish, and I'll cast to them, and I'll catch all of the active fish first. Mm-hmm. And then if they slow down, if I think bigger fish are like in the tree, then I'll ease up to it. But most of the time, the biggest fish is going to be the active fish. You go catch them first most of the time. It's not all the time, but most of the time. So
man, let's see, with bass fishing, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of that. Those babies will come flying over there quick.
I seen that with spots on Lake Greenwood. Yeah, them things are real aggressive.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was taking a guy out last week. He wanted me to help him dial his LiveScope in.
Okay.
And he's strictly bass fishing. I told him, I was like, I can show you fish that may be bass, but I knew where some schools of bass was at based on past experience, and we worked our way to that spot, and it was a long point, and we shined them, and man, you could see them. They was just schooled up on the bottom, and of course I was using the crappie jig and the crappie rod, but I knew I could hook them, so I threw it out there. I hooked one. He broke me off. He threw out there, hooked one, had about a 3-pounder. Then he lost another one about 2.5, and he was sold. Then
gotcha.
Yeah, but it takes time to learn. You can't just go out there. Fish just ain't gonna jump in the boat when you cut it on. So
yeah. So that was kind of the thought whenever the A-rig came out with bass fishing. Everybody was thinking every time you cast it, if you have a 5-arm A-rig, you're gonna pull in 5 bass every cast. That was the way that it seemed, but people found out quickly that was not the case.
Yeah. I think it's good for the sport. We're seeing a lot of young guys get into it, we was worried about that a few years ago. You know, you go to a tournament and you look up, and be like, man, I'm the youngest guy here, and I'm 50 years old. So
Right.
that's not good
Yeah.
for the sport. Nobody wants to see 70 and 80. I mean, I hope to be fishing then, but that ain't
Right.
what you want to see. You want to see the young 20-year-old guys. You want to see them doing good. Otherwise, we ain't gonna be here forever. So that's what they like to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that electronics, they're coming straight off of the couch with electronics and straight
Yeah.
onto the boat doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff though, man.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. I really appreciate you stepping up and stepping on to the live stream. Um, I guess I will hop back in here and go through a few more of these comments. We've been
All
on
right,
for
man.
about an hour, but yeah, I really appreciate it. I really
Yeah, man.
appreciate you
Thanks for what
supporting
you're
the
doing.
channel.
Keep up the good work.
All right, all right. We have Derek stepping in. All right, guys. All right, let's see. We have a few more comments. Like I said, we've been going for about an hour now. Let's see who we have next. All right, Josh Johnson says Clark's Hill. Clark's Hill is my home lake as well. Yeah, so you Clark's Hill guys. Looks like you're gonna be linking up out there. I actually had a tournament that I won a few years back on Clark's Hill. I was a co-angler though. My boater, it was a team tournament. Boater came in with an 8.5 pounder. Nice largemouth. I mean, but we were killing it on Thursday and Friday. I think we pre-fished Thursday. Yeah, I mean, we were catching 4, 5, 3-pounders on that Friday. Actually, on that Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday tournament day, same thing. That was a nice one. All right, and we have Josh Johnson saying, haven't been in a while though. The last couple of times I went did not do so good. All right, so hey, gotta step it up, get out there, and you'll get those results soon. All right, let me see. Randy's a jerkbait specialist. He feels threatened by forward-facing sonar. His argument against it's like, let me see, the has and the has not, and he talks like people who can afford it are buying wins. Not true. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much going to be the same when you go into any sport as far as the financial side. I mean, you can think about any sport to where there's always going to be upgrades in any type of equipment, and how do you kind of go along with the times and still keep the integrity of what you're initially out there for and out there trying to do. So people do talk about making it into two separate things, but I don't really see that happening on the financial side. Maybe on a smaller level it could happen. So it could be interesting. All right, Steve Martin says, Josh Johnson, maybe it'll get better for us. I went this weekend and the thermal climb was at 20 feet. Yeah, so I'm hearing even out here, Lake Lanier, people are having a tough time out there. So I might have to sneak out to the lake tomorrow, guys. People are saying it's tough. I like going out there on tough. I like the challenge. So I think I'm going to go out there for a few hours tomorrow and see if I can get a quick 5 or, how I do. So I can come back and give you guys a report on that. All right, so we have Harry. The step says the next generation will be even more dialed in than the best anglers today. That is true. That is true. Those electronics I think they're gonna continue to improve. But hey, Harry, we can hang in there with them. We can hang in there. Just stay out on the water a little bit and a little bit more time. We can keep up. All right. Then we have Josh Johnson saying, okay, been about a month since I went, usually beat the bank, but since I got the Garmin, I do try to stay offshore. Yeah, Clark's Hill, for me, I like fishing offshore on Clark's Hill. I haven't caught any real big fish offshore. I catch a lot of numbers. And if you just go into search on YouTube, just search MoneyBass Clark's Hill, then a bunch of my Clark's Hill videos should pop up. Some of you guys that fish Clark's Hill, you might like those. But yeah, I do a lot of offshore fishing on Clark's Hill too. All right, and we have Harry Step says going to get Mega Live during the fall sale. Just got Mega 360 this year and still learning. All right, so yeah. So for you, what I would say is just search MoneyBass Mega Live, MoneyBass Mega 360 in the search bar on YouTube, because I have a lot of videos where I go over details and how to set up your 360. The video that I just completed either yesterday or the day before yesterday that was just uploaded. There are links in the description for those that show how I set up my 360 to get it dialed in. So I think that'll definitely help you out if you haven't already seen those. All right, guys. All right. We have been on for a little over an hour. It has been great, guys. I have gone through all of the comments, had a few of you guys up on the screen. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. And hey, continue to get active down in the comment section, because I will continue to read through them even after the live stream is over. All right, guys. I will see you guys on the next video.